Hey friends, Phil Bechtel here with Kid Stories Podcast. Today, we are going to practice writing a story with help. Now, the help that we're going to be using today is this. This is a deck of storytelling cards. It's called Narata. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. There's different versions of it. There's like expansions for it. This is just the core deck. And I use this often when, sometimes if I'm just trying to write one-off stories that are about new things, right? Like not the Ninjas of Alleytown, but something totally different. Sometimes I just use them when I'm having trouble coming up with a story. Now the deck is huge, right? There's 200 cards and it's all different elements of a story, right? There's location cards, there's goals, characters, creatures, so many different things. And you could start a different story in many different ways with many different cards. Sometimes you just use the cards when you get to a bump in your story, right? Where things aren't coming together, you can't figure it out, so you're like, I gotta get out some cards, just give me some ideas. Get the ball rolling. Today though, we're gonna create a story, beginning, middle, and end, with just the cards. Now here's the rule, this is a fun thing to do sometimes, is you have to use the card you draw, right? We're gonna draw them blindly. We're not gonna pick them out one at a time. We're just gonna go totally random, so let's get started. We're gonna start with a character. I'm gonna draw two cards at this kind of, I'm gonna use them together, right? There's character, and I'm gonna use this part of the deck, creature. So, I'm gonna hold these up for you. Now, some of these cards in the Narata deck, there are so many, I take some of them out. Some of them are not totally appropriate for the kind of stories that I write. So I just take them out, and I've already taken out those from the deck. So let's start with our character. So basically, I'm just gonna shuffle these up. I'm gonna mix them around, and then I'm gonna split the deck, and we're gonna use whatever character, no matter what, okay? So here's my deck. Now I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna cut the deck, they say, and we're gonna use the character that shows up here. You ready? There it is. Criminal! That's great. So we're gonna say that our main character's a criminal, because why not? Now, we're gonna spice it up a little bit and draw from the creature deck. Some of the creatures in the creature deck are basic creatures you know about, like animals and stuff. Others are mythological beasts and such. So, I'm gonna give it a shuffle. I'm gonna split the deck. What do we have? A horse. So our main character is a horse who is a criminal. Now let's ask ourselves, what is the goal? The goal will help us figure out more about our character, because that's one of the things that matters a lot when we write stories, is what's our character's motivation, right? What's their goal? So let's see, what is our criminal horse wanting to do? So I'm shuffling. Don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to cut the deck, and the card on top is the one we're going to use. What does that say? Save the world. Okay, so our criminal horse, I guess, is going to turn a new leaf and save the world from what? Let's use another part of the deck, right? We could use event. We could use object. I'm gonna go ahead and go with event. Now, in the event deck, the little event deck here, there's a lot of things that might be relevant to this story that we're writing. And there's a lot of things that might make it weird and silly. And that's kind of the fun of this exercise, is no matter what, I have to figure out a way to get a criminal horse to save the world from, let's see. All right, so I'm gonna shuffle my events. I'm gonna cut the deck, and the one that goes on top is, what does that say? Witnessing a crime. That doesn't make any sense. But I have to use it. Let's use it. I have to use it. Okay, so what does he witness? He witnesses a crime. He's got to save the world. He witnessed a crime. he witnessed something that is threatening the entire world. I have to say, he witnessed the president meeting with aliens, and the president agreed to give the aliens Earth in exchange for an object. That's it. So he witnessed this crime. The president, in secret, is meeting with aliens, and he's gonna be like, yeah, you can have Earth as long as you give me what? We're gonna run through the object deck and see. I'm gonna shuffle a little bit. I'm gonna put my cards up. I'm gonna cut the deck, and the one we see is the one we have to use. Ready? Oh, a spaceship. Totally. That makes so much sense. He's like, oh man, if you give me a spaceship, I'll give you planet Earth. I mean, obviously planet Earth is not his to give, but the aliens are like, yeah, this is a great deal. I want to know what, if our main character's a horse, then the president would probably be something weird too, right? So let's go through our creature deck again and shuffle through and see what kind of creature the president is. So the president is going to be, and then we cut the deck, a pet. So it's a cat. He's a house cat. President Kitty Cat is bad, and he's promised Earth to these aliens. And our criminal horse, we don't know what kind of criminal he is yet. I just like, he's a thief, I bet. He steals like stuff that horses like, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure that out though. That's a detail, we'll figure it out. He steals stuff. He witnesses President Kitty Cat having a secret meeting because he was in the White House to steal stuff, maybe. A horse snuck into the White House, that makes sense. And then he witnesses this secret meeting, and then with the aliens, let's think about how is he going to, I'm going to ask myself this, and we're going to go to the deck for this. How is he going to fix this situation? The aliens have promised a spaceship to the President of the United States, President Kitty Cat. Let's find out, let's use our object deck for one more thing from the Narata deck that will help us round out the story, okay? So I'm going to take, that's my object card. I took that off, just says object. So I'm going to shuffle up my object deck. Okay, now I'm going to cut the deck, and we got to use it. This is our last one probably. So cut the deck. What are we going to use? What does that say? A cell phone. Okay. So maybe, man, there were cooler objects in here, but we got to use it. We got to use it. So the horse, a criminal horse is going to use a cell phone too. Criminal horse will use a cell phone to record the meeting. He uses his cell phone to record the meeting between President Kitty Cat and the aliens. Okay, so we fit the cell phone into the story, even though it didn't go exactly where we thought it was going to go. I want some more information about, how, great, this is it. How the criminal horse is going to defeat the aliens and President Kitty Cat. So let's draw another creature. Let's say criminal horse he's phoning a friend. He's like, oh, I got to call so-and-so and he'll help me out or she'll help me out. Ready? I'm going to shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to cut the deck, and the one that goes on top is the one we're going to have to use. Ready? Insects. Yep, it's a bug. Of course it is. Of course it is. What insect could help criminal horse thwart President Kitty Cat and the aliens? Probably it's a bug. Wasps. Wasps are awful. I understand their place in the ecosystem. I do not like them. And I cannot imagine that an alien would like wasps either. So, criminal horse calls his friend Waspy Wasperson, who is a wasp, and they're going to work together to foil this plot between President Kitty Cat and the aliens to take over Earth. I like it. So this is one way that we can use the storytelling deck to create ridiculous stories. Usually when you flip over random cards and you have to use them, the stories just get completely absurd. But I like it. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this core of our story and I'm going to build it out into an actual episode. And then I'm going to share that with you. So you can see how we get the bones of a story and then we fill in the gaps by asking questions, right? We're going to have to ask ourselves questions. So make sure to follow up and see the actual video of this story. And maybe it'll even be a podcast episode. You can get these. You can click on the link in the whatever or anything to get the Narata Storytelling deck. They're everywhere you might imagine you could buy them. They're there for sale. So anyway, thanks for joining me. I would love to know name ideas, okay? Send a comment or send an email to kidstoriespodcast@gmail.com for names for President Kitty Cat, although I kind of like President Kitty Cat, and a criminal horse. I kind of like criminal horse. And then Waspy Wasperson. If you have ideas for names of these three characters, let me know. And then I can put those names in the final story. Awesome. Thanks for joining me, friends. Adios. It didn't work. It didn't go off. Let's try it again. Thanks for joining me, friends. Adios.